Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Living Manna Church. Hi, guys. I'm Dave Sain, Senior Shepherd here at LMC. Happy Wednesday to everybody. I hope that you are all having a great week out there. Of course, for us, it's Wednesday night, which means it is Bible study time. Got a lot of neat stuff to go over with you today, a lot of scripture. So we're going to jump right into this. Let me just get this out of the way. If this is the first time that you're hanging out with us, or you have not yet subscribed or hitting that bell, this way you're notified each time that we go live, please do that now if you're watching us on YouTube. If you would like the notes, they are available in the description box, as well as if you're watching us on the LMC app. You can download the notes there too. And if you don't have the LMC app, you can go to the Google Play Store and you can download that and be part of the things that go on here at LMC. I think that's all the commercials for today. I got a lot of stuff that I want to share with you guys, so I want to jump right into it. This way, you don't lose any time for tonight. So get your Bibles ready, get out there. Let's open up with a word of prayer, and let's jump into this. Abba, we love you. Give us eyes to see, ears to hear, and hearts that are willing to obey. In the Master's name, Amen. Amen. Okay, so here we go, guys. Tonight's study is part of everything that we've been doing with last week, with the last two Shabbats, talking about getting out of Egypt, getting out of Sodom. Uh, and so this is just really a continuation of it. We're going to be talking about the blesses and the curses, life and death today. But all of this is getting us to a point of being able to understand some prophecies. We're going to deal with some prophecy tonight as well, a lot of prophecy actually, but some other bigger prophecies that go on a little bit later that will help us really piece the whole story together. And so please stay with me, keep doing the Wednesdays, keep doing the Saturdays. All of it means something, so it's all cumulative as we go on. But for tonight, the title is Life and Death, Bless and Curse. Life and death, bless and curse. Our opening verses for tonight. This comes right out of Deuteronomy. So we've been talking about getting out, like I said, getting out of Sodom, getting out of Egypt. How Yah takes His people out before destruction, and eventually we're going to get into getting out of Babylon, because that's the end product of all of this. But there's some really important stuff that needs to be understood before we do that. In order to understand what's being said in the book of Revelation, and prior to that, what's being said in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, Luke, chapter 21, we have to understand these other principles first. In particular, we have to understand the covenant as it is given by Moses in the book of Deuteronomy. This is key to absolutely everything. So here is Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 15 through 20. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys so everybody can see it. And here we go. So here's Moses. He's given the whole covenant, reiterated the covenant to the house of Israel. They're about to go into the land. He's about to pass away. Joshua's about to take them in. And he's just laid out all the blessings and all the cursings. And here's what he says in verse 15. He says, "See, I have set before you today life and good, and death and evil, in that I am commanding you today to love Yah your Elohim, to walk in His ways, and to guard His commandments and His laws and His right rulings. And you shall live and increase, and Yah your Elohim shall bless you in the land which you go in to possess. But if your heart turns away, and you do not obey, and shall be drawn away, and shall bow to other mighty ones and serve them, I have declared to you today that you shall certainly perish. You shall not prolong your days in the land which you are passing over the Jordan to enter into and possess. I have called the heavens and the earth as witnesses today against you. I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore, you shall choose life, so that you live, both you and your seed, to love Yahweh your Elohim, to obey His voice, and to cling to Him, for He is your life and the length of your days, to dwell in the land which Yah swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them." Okay, long couple of verses there. The gist of it is he's pleading with the house of Israel before they go into the land to choose life, because this is a binary choice. He says, depending upon what you do, you will either bring blessing upon yourself or you will bring cursing upon yourself. You will bring life upon yourself or you will bring death upon yourself. Now we've got to remember that the entire Torah is a pattern, right? So do we still have this choice today? Well, many would say, no, we're in the New Testament and we just have to believe by faith and that's it. No, this is a pattern. This is a foundation for us to understand. We still either choose life or we choose death. We either choose the Son and have eternal life in him. And if you choose not to have the Son, you have already made the choice for eternal death. So what we're reading here is a pattern for something much, much bigger. But it needs to be understood. These verses need to be understood in the context of speaking to these people as they are coming into the land. Moses knows, even though he's pleading with them, Moses knows because he's already said, and we're going to look at those verses in just a minute, that you're going to fall away. He knows that they're going to fall away. Abba knows that they're going to fall away, that they're going to go the way of the nations. And he's letting them know this covenant that I've sworn to you. One of these two things are going to happen. Now, it is either both today and back then that back then they either believed what Abba said through Moses, that they would either choose life or they would choose death, they would choose blessing or they would choose cursing. So it is with us today. We have to trust and believe that we have eternal life. I mean, I don't have it right now. Yes, we have it in us. Yes, the Spirit has started, but I'm still alive in this flesh. I don't have that. I have a deposit of it, the Holy Spirit, but even that, it's not physical yet, but I still have to believe and trust it. And then when it happens, of course, that will be the proof of the covenant, either eternal life or eternal death. Same with them. They are being promised something that if you do this, this will happen. If you don't do this, this will happen. But they didn't have it standing there in the at the Jordan. This was something in the future. And like we've talked about before, things that we can't see, we can't taste, we can't touch, we can't smell, just to hope for, you got to wonder, because this is what Moses says, you're not going to believe. You're going to fall away. It's because if you do things that are wrong and a curse is supposed to come, if the curse doesn't come right away, we're going to think, well, the curse is never going to come. And that's just not the truth. And Israel is going to learn that lesson. But it's going to be a lesson not just for ancient Israel, it's a lesson for us too. We're supposed to learn from all the things that they have gone through and not make the same mistakes that they did. So, uh, so this is really important. And here it is. He is begging them. Look at this down here in that light blue. I'm underlining it in the dark blue there. He is begging them to choose life. But he knows what's going to happen. And in the prior chapters, he actually explains to them exactly what's going to happen. So I want us to think bigger for a second. We are living at the end of the age, right? So all of this is history to us, whether we call it Old Testament, New Testament, this is all history to us. And I want you to have a bit of a bird's eye view here. Now, some of the biggest or maybe the most important events in the history of Israel, and there's a lot of them. I mean, crossing the Red Sea, the Passover, all sorts of amazing, amazing events. But I think the three biggest events that have happened in Israel's history are markers for us. They're things that we need to look for. They are signs. They're things that we need to look for to understand a bigger picture. And here on the screen in front of you, I've got listed at least what I believe are the three biggest events, the most pivotal events in all of Israel's history. And again, there's a lot of really pivotal events, but these three are the biggest. Number one, and you can see in the pictures there, is the Babylonian captivity. That is, that the temple and Jerusalem would be destroyed. Now, the northern kingdom gets scattered into Assyria. We're talking about what happens to Jerusalem is earth shattering. This is what happens to the temple, that's Yah's house, is earth shattering. And the first big event or pivotal event, the thing that is a marker, is the Babylonian captivity when the Nebuchadnezzar and his armies come in, and they don't actually destroy the temple right away. It's a process before they destroy it. They had no desire to destroy the temple in the beginning. It was the insolence of the Jewish people that brought Nebuchadnezzar to the point of destroying the temple. But he did certainly wipe a lot of them out and bring them as prisoners and bring them as slaves into the land of Babylon. But eventually, he would destroy the temple and Jerusalem itself. So that happens around the year 587, 586 on our calendar. That is BC. All right, first major event. Now, most of us would not even think of that as a major event. It is. It is a huge event that we must understand if we're going to understand prophecy. The second major event, and sort of sandwiched in between these other two events, of course, is the death and the resurrection of Messiah, and not even arguably, but probably the most important event in all of human history. But we're talking about the big events in the history of Israel, in this particular case, Judah, the death and the resurrection of the Messiah between 30 to 33 AD, depending upon who you're asking, if the calendar is correct, if we got everything right. But certainly within that time frame, that Messiah comes, the Mashiach comes, he preaches, he does his ministry, he dies, and 3 days later, he is raised from the dead and eventually ascends back to the Father. That is a pivotal point in all of Israeli history. And we're going to look at some of the things the master says, because he is going to refer to these other pivotal events and remind us of prophecy and use prophecy to help us understand what has happened and what was going to happen, at least to be able to understand it in its proper context. The third greatest event or biggest event in Israel's history is the destruction by the Romans of both the temple and Jerusalem at around 69 to 70 AD. It happened sort of in between those years, at a war that lasts from 66 AD to 73 AD. It's a 7-year war that's going to become really important later on. The Roman destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. And you can see on the picture right over here that, of course, that is just an artist computer regeneration of what that could have or possibly look like. All three of these, believe it or not, are all related. They are absolutely all related, all pivotal, all important for us to understand to get a bigger picture of things. Okay, so having said that, let's take a look at this. The chapters 28, 29, 30, 31 of Deuteronomy are the whole listing of blessings and cursings that Abraham gives to them. The whole Deuteronomy is just a reiteration of the Torah, a renewing of the covenant. He renews the covenant that started at Sinai. He renews the whole thing with them there. And it comes down to two basic concepts or two basic ideas. Number one, you are supposed to love Elohim. That is, the people of Yah in this Israel, ancient Israel, was supposed to love Elohim with all their heart, all their mind, all their soul, all their strength. And in loving him, of course, be obedient. But if for some reason their hearts turned from them, they wouldn't get the blessings of life. They would get the cursings that would eventually bring death if they turn their hearts and they disobeyed. So a binary choice: love Elohim or don't love Elohim, obey or disobey, choose blessing or choose curse, choose life or choose death. That's what it comes down to. So that's without getting into all the details and all the weeds of every single curse, every single blessing, because we just don't have enough time to do all of that. But I certainly suggest that you read those chapters. They're very good, very interesting, and will give you a window into all of this. But here's chapter 29. And I want you to notice some stuff here. I'm going to read through this really, we're not going to read through all of it. I got certain pieces I picked out that hopefully will show us enough of the bigger picture. So this is chapter 29 as Moses is speaking to the house of Israel. And he says in verse 12, so that you should enter into covenant with Yah your Elohim and into his oath, which Yah your Elohim makes with you today. So he is reiterating the oath, because if you read the verses just before this, he's reiterating the oath that he already made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And now it's being passed on to the house of Israel as they're about to go into the land after 40 years of wandering. So Yah your Elohim makes with you today, in order to establish you today as a people for himself, and he himself be your Elohim, as he has spoken to you, and as he has sworn to your fathers. So this is where you know this is where the oath comes from: Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And not with you alone. So he's not just talking about the people that are standing right there at the mountain. He's talking about all the people of Israel who will come after them, that he's making this covenant with them and their descendants. So what's the covenant based on? It's based on, if they obey, there's going to be blessing. If they disobey, there's going to be cursing. That's in its most simplest terms. That's what it is. So I'm not making this covenant, and not with you alone. I'm right here if you guys are following me. And not with you alone, I am making this covenant and this oath, but with him who stands here with us today before Yah our Elohim, as well as with him who is not here today, future peoples. I'm skipping some verses, going over to verse 19, and listen to what he says. And it shall be, when he hears the words of this curse. So he's talking to the people, he's making a new covenant with them. And the verses that I sort of skipped is he talks about what some of the people are going to do. They're going to go into the land and they're going to start to do the things that the people in the land do, like worshiping other gods and all sorts of other stuff. And they're going to forget these words, even though Yah is expressly saying blessing or cursing, life or death. They're going to forget these words and they're going to start doing their own thing. And so he says now in verse 19, and it shall be when you guys start doing this, when that individual hears the words of this curse, the person who's doing their own thing, that he should bless himself in his heart, saying, I have peace, though I walk in stubbornness of my heart, in order to add drunkenness to thirst. So let's define this for a second. He's saying, listen, I know you're going to go into the land and you're going to start doing these crazy things. And there's going to be people, lots of people it's going to wind up, that are going to think in their own minds, in their own hearts, I haven't seen the curses. It's just about blessing. And honestly, I'm going to do what I think is right in my own heart. I'm not going to believe the words that were spoken of by Moses. Yeah, I believe in God. Yeah, we have a religious tradition and all the rest of that. But that was way back then. This has really nothing to do with us. And here he's saying, oh, no, 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 no. If you think in your mind that you can do your own thing, and you walk in the stubbornness of your own heart in order to add drunkenness to thirst. So, dehydration, you're already dehydrated. If you drink alcohol on top of being dehydrated, you're even more dehydrated, is what he's saying. Bad thing, bad choice. You're making a mistake, and now you're adding to the mistake. And what's going to happen? Curses. They didn't believe it. But it's coming. It says Yah would, so for the people that do this, that do not believe in the blessing or the curse, don't really believe it because their actions really don't reflect that belief. Here is what Yah says. He says, Yah would not forgive him, but rather the displeasure of Yah and his jealousy shall burn against that man. And here it is. And every curse that is written in this book shall settle on him. Now, remember, we did the bookends last week's Bible study. These are the same words that we read in the book of Revelation, because Deuteronomy and Revelation are connected to each other. So here he's saying, listen, you do this stuff, you do your own thing. Every curse that's written in this book will settle on him, and Yah will blot out his name from under the heavens. You can read this in Revelation 20, 21. Same exact words. It says, and Yah shall separate him for evil out of the tribes of Israel, take him away from the tribes of Israel, out of the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses, here it is, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book. So let's think about this a second. He's saying, I'm going to do it. You can't go do your own thing and just forget the words that are in here because they're true. And you're either going to be blessed by them or you're going to be cursed by them. And he's telling them, listen, according to this covenant, I am going to, because I have said these words to you, if you do these things, all the curses of this covenant that are written in this book of the Torah will come upon you. So they knew this, or at least they heard it. And yet we know history because we're living at the end of it. They wind up doing exactly what Moses said not to do. And what winds up happening? Blessings when they are in right standing with Abba, and curses when they are not. This is so important because, again, this is a lesson to us. We get blessing or we get cursing. We choose life or we choose death. And just because the punishment isn't immediate now, nor is the eternal reward immediate now, doesn't mean that it's not coming, that according to what's written in the book isn't actually going to happen. When it happens, that's the proof, that's the confirmation that everything that was said is absolutely true. So if you do the right thing and blessings come, that's proof. That's a confirmation of the covenant that you're doing what the covenant said. So you're receiving what the covenant prescribes you should receive. But if you do evil, if you disobey, the proof, the confirmation of the covenant to prove to you that it is real, that exactly what was said is exactly what he meant, and that he will do exactly what he said he will do. The proof is curses. The proof is not just curses, it's all the curses written in this book. So it's really important then for us to understand the curses written in this book. Now, there are in these chapters two tragedies. This is in chapter 28. So when he talks about the blessings and the curses, he gives two examples of what's coming. And the first tragedy, as we already looked at, I said the two major things is the Babylonian captivity, of course, the life and death of Messiah, and then the Roman destruction of the temple. So the first tragedy is Babylon. Now, the northern house does get scattered. That's a tragedy in and of itself, but we're talking about the temple, the place where Yah's presence was, the thing that is the symbol to the entire house of Israel. So here's Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 33. Now, these are prophecies of what's coming. I submit to you that this is a prophecy of the Babylonian captivity, that if you stay in rebellion, you will see these words come to life. He says, a people whom you have not known will eat the fruit of your land and all your labors, and you shall be only oppressed and crushed all the days, and you shall be maddened because of the sight which your eyes see. Yah strikes you in the knees and on the legs with evil boils, of which you are unable to be healed, and from the sole of your foot to the top of your head. Yah brings you and the king whom you set over you. So the king is associated with Jerusalem from David and all the other kings on. We're talking about Jerusalem. Now, there's no Jerusalem at this particular time in history because they haven't gotten into the land. But that's going to be a major, major thing. David's going to take them into Jerusalem. He's going to make Jerusalem the capital. And that's going to be the king over them. And he's saying in the future, this is what's going to happen. Yah's going to bring you and the king whom you set over you to a nation. He's talking about picking you up and moving you to another nation as a curse, as a confirmation that you have broken the oath, you have broken the covenant, you have been like one that says, well, I'm just going to bless myself and I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and you have added drunkenness to thirst. He's saying this is the first thing that's going to happen. Yah brings you and the king whom you set over you to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there you shall serve other mighty ones, wood and stone. Thus you shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and a mockery among all the peoples to which Yah drives you. So if you persist in doing this, this is the curse. You're going to be exiled. You're going to go into another land. And of course, This does happen in Jerusalem. This does happen when they have a king set over them. The king's eyes get poked out. All his children get killed in front of him. They all get taken to Babylon. This happens. This actually happens. And it happens, of course, in Babylon. And when they get to Babylon, you can see the pictures that are on there. This is, of course, the story of Daniel and Ezekiel and Jeremiah. All of them are contemporaries of each other. This is the story of Nebuchadnezzar, who has the dream of the statue. We're going to get more into that this upcoming Shabbat. But he has the dream of this statue. Daniel, of course, and his three other brethren interpret this. They pray, they fast, they are able to interpret this dream. Abba gives the interpretation so that Daniel can give it to Nebuchadnezzar. And what does Nebuchadnezzar do? He sets it up as an idol and makes everybody bow down to that idol. Now, of course, we know that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or Azariah, Hananiah, and Mishael, they don't bow down, but they're not the only Jews there. There's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of Jews there, and they bow down. And exactly what it says here winds up happening. That the king that they served is carted off to another land. The people are carted off to another land. They become a proverb and an astonishment to the nations around them. Oh, your God is so great. Look what he allowed to happen to you. If your God is so great, why did he allow his temple to be destroyed? If his city is so great, why did he allow his city to be destroyed? If you are the people of God, why are you slaves in a foreign land and now worshiping the way the Babylonians do? And of course, the Babylonians have a great effect or influence on the house of Israel that lasts many, many years past their wandering. Now they're only there; they're not there quite 70 years, but the time that Nebuchadnezzar's rule over all the nations lasts for 70 years, and eventually Daniel, not in Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, in the kingdom that comes after it, in the Medes and the Persian kingdom, he realizes, according to Jeremiah, the time is almost over. And an amazing, amazing prophecy comes forward that you need to know this information in order to understand that prophecy. Without this information, it's just going to go right over our head or right off our back like water off a duck's back. So here is a window in Deuteronomy saying this is a curse. This is what's coming to you. You're going to be uprooted. You're going to go to a foreign land. You're going to serve in that foreign land. You're going to be an astonishment, a proverb. All the things you have, they're going to take from you. And you're going to wind up serving other gods. This happens in real time, 586 BC, to the house of Judah. Okay, so here is what is written by Daniel at that time when this prophecy is actually coming true. So Yah said it through Moses, and now it's happening in real time in the book of Daniel. Hundreds of years later, but it's happening. We must take him at his word. He is confirming his word that he said through Moses, that if you do this, this is what's coming. And this isn't just me saying it. Listen to the words of Daniel. Listen to the principle here. This is Daniel 9. They've been there for, well, not quite 70 years, but the whole reign has been over 70 years. They've been out. The temple's destroyed. Jerusalem's destroyed. Daniel 9:9, in a prayer to Yah, says the following: To Yahweh, our Elohim, are the compassions and forgivenesses, for we have rebelled against them. So he's repenting on behalf of the entire nation, asking, what's next for Israel? What's next? The 70 years are done. Jeremiah said we're going to be in this mess for about 70 years. It's done. What's next for us? Have mercy on us. Forgive us. Forgive us for what we've done. Have mercy on us. Restore us. So in his confession, he says, and we have not, here it is, we have not obeyed the voice of Yah, our Elohim, to walk in his Torah, which he set before us through his servants, the prophets. And all Israel has transgressed your Torah and turned aside so as not to obey the voice. Wait a minute, we just finished reading Moses saying, if you do that, exactly where they are is going to happen. And look at what he says. Yeah, I got it in blue here or green or whatever color that is. He says, this is Daniel. So the curse and the oath written in the Torah of Moses, the servant of Elohim, have been poured out on us, for we have sinned against them. Now, check out the PDP there to make it hopefully a little bit more clear. Here's what he's saying. So the confirmation of the curse and the oath written in the Torah of Moses, the servant of Elohim, has been poured out on us, for we have sinned against him. What he's saying is exactly what Moses said, is exactly what's happening. And we didn't believe it. We didn't trust it. We blessed ourselves. We thought everything's just going to be okay. And it's not. It's not. Sooner or later, it's going to catch up. And so here it's catching up. Now he says it again, and he uses the word confirmed here in verse 12. And he, that is Abba, has confirmed his words. What words? The words of the covenant. Obey, blessing, life. Disobey, cursing, death. The fact that they are in Babylon, the fact that the temple is destroyed, the fact that Jerusalem has been leveled, that all these people have died horrific deaths, have gone into slavery and are scattered everywhere, the fact that that has happened is confirmation of the covenant as given by Moses to the house of Israel. This is exactly what Daniel is saying. So he's defining for us what confirmation of a covenant looks like. And he has confirmed his words, which he spoke against us and against our rulers who judged us, by bringing upon us great evil. Now, how bad is this from Hebrew eyes, from the eyes of a Jew of this day, of a people of Judah of this day, of the house of Israel of this day? How bad is the fact that Jerusalem is destroyed? How bad is the fact that the temple, the very temple, is destroyed? How bad is that? Look at what it is here. He says, for under all the heavens, there has not been done like what has been done to Jerusalem. It was horrific. It was horrific. So if again, this isn't just any other city. This is the city of the king. This is the city of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is the city of the presence. This is the city of the Shekinah, the Shekinah. This is that city. And here Daniel is saying, nothing like this has ever happened. This should have been a sign, a shock to all the people of Israel of his day. And we're going to find out later on, it's going to tell us this in Moses. This should have been a shock, a sign to let them know everything Abba has said he will do, whether it's blessing or whether it's cursing, whether it's life or whether it's death. So one more time, for under all the heavens, there has not been done like what has been done to Jerusalem. And here it is again, as it is written in the Torah of Moses. This is a confirmation of the words of Moses. And as it is written in the Torah of Moses, all this evil has come upon us, and we have not entreated the face of Yah, our Elohim, to turn back from our crookedness. We didn't repent, and to study your truth. They didn't do it. They were just living life. They were just doing their thing. And of course, they started worshiping other gods, and all sorts of other crazy stuff goes on. They didn't keep the Sabbaths and yada, yada, yada. And all that stuff goes on. And now here they are. And here's Daniel saying, Yah told us so. He told us so. And now here it is. Verse 16, it says, I'm right here, guys, if you lost the spot. Verse 16 says, O Yahuwah, according to all your righteousness, I pray, let your displeasure and the wrath be turned away from your city, Jerusalem. So he's asking, can this be over? Would you just forgive us? Could you restore us? I'm repenting. I'm sure he's talking to others. We're repenting. We want this to be over. Jeremiah said that there's a limited time for this to go on. This isn't the end of us. There's got to be more. That's what he's praying for, and there is. And he wants to know. The whole prayer in the book of Daniel, chapter 9, is he wants to know what's next for Jerusalem. What's next for the people of Yah? What's next for the temple? What? There is no temple. What actually is next? So One more time, where was I? Your wrath be turned from your city, Jerusalem, your set apart mountain, for because of our sins and because of the crookedness of our fathers, Jerusalem and your people have become a reproach to all of those around us, which is what we just read. They're going to become a proverb to all the nations. Well, this, you got such a great God. Look what he did to you. This is the great God that you worship. He allowed all you people to die and to be in slavery, and your city. He's actually confirming the words that Moses said. Your people have become a reproach to all those around us. And now, our Elohim, hear the prayer of your servant and his supplications, and for the sake of Yah, cause your face to shine on your set apart place, which is laid waste. He's asking him to restore Jerusalem, to restore the city, to restore the people, ultimately, to restore and rebuild a temple. And wonderfully, yep, Father and the Mashiach, the Messiah, Father and Son, are going to answer this prayer in a positive way. Because this is the first part of the cursing that he spoke about. I'm going to pick you up and your king and bring you to a spot, and all this craziness is going to happen. Here's proof that what he says he will do. This is a confirmation of the covenant. The curse is part of the confirmation, but it's still the confirmation of the covenant. Out of the words of Daniel. This is vital. Keep this in the back of your mind. Let this soak in. Daniel is confirming the words of Moses and saying we're living it right now. Okay? So, but that's only the first part. Remember, there's three: there's the Messiah, there's the Babylonian captivity, and then there's the Roman destruction as well. And when you go back to Deuteronomy 28 and you keep reading, he tells them what's going to happen next if they continue in this. If they continue to do the things they do, it's not just he's going to pick them up and bring their king and they're going to be a proverb. Something else is coming. Here's Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45. This is uh, um, this is actually Rome, but Rome is also called Babylon as well. It's a little play on words there. It says, "And all these curses shall come upon you, and they shall pursue and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the voice of Yah your Elohim to guard his commandments and his laws which he commanded you. And they shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder and on your seed forever." So what happened to them in Babylon, as a proof that what Moses said through Yah in the covenant, as a confirmation of the words of the covenant, this was supposed to be, can you guys see it here? This was supposed to be a sign for them, a marker, something for them to look at, to guide them as direct, to look and see, wait a minute, this already happened once. What we don't want to do is make the same mistake, because if we do, something else is coming. And here's the something else. So this is a sign. The destruction of the temple and Jerusalem through Babylon is a sign. But now we're going to talk about Rome, because here's what the next verse says. "Because you did not serve Yah your Elohim with joy and gladness of heart for all the plenty, you shall serve your enemies, whom Yah sends against you, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in need of all. And he, Yah, shall put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you." He's going to get rid of them. Get rid of them. And here's what's coming. Not you're going to be picked. This already happened. You're not going to be picked up and your kings and everybody's going to be brought into another nation, become a proverb. No. Not this time. Now we're talking about destruction. Yah shall bring a nation against you. Not send you to a nation, bring a nation against you from afar, from the ends of the earth, as swift, and this is a clue right here. This, and Abba gives us lots and lots of clues. This nation is as swift as the eagle flies. a nation whose language you shall not understand, and this nation is going to be a fierce or terrible nation. Um, it's going to do terrible, terrible things, which shall show. So this nation that he will bring in, if you persist in this, which shall show no regard for the elderly, nor show favor to the young, and they shall eat the fruit of your livestock and the fruit of your land until you are destroyed. They're going to tax the heck out of you. They will leave you no grain, no new wine, nor oil, nor the increase of your cattle or the offspring of your flocks until they have destroyed you. This is what's coming. Now, of course, you can see in the picture there that, of course, is a Roman soldier. And all of us should know by now that the symbol of Rome is an eagle. It's an eagle. They would walk around with the golden eagle on the staff, on their flags. It was a symbol of Rome. Of course, Rome is still here with us today. It's spread out all over the place, east and west, both the Middle Eastern part of Rome and the Western part of Rome, both the Muslim part of Rome and the Christian part of Rome. It's all still here today. But another message for another day. But here's what he's telling them. This is the next step. So Daniel's there and he's asking, can you restore us? Forgive us. According to the time Jeremiah said, this should all be over. Please restore Jerusalem. He does. But they don't learn. They don't stop. Something else happens. Something different. It's not even the same thing that they did before. We'll get more into that. I don't know if we'll have time to do that tonight. But something else is going to happen that's going to make this occur. A nation swift as the eagle. All right, so let's go back here. This is the book of Daniel again. Because after Daniel prays that prayer of forgive us, restore Jerusalem, this is happening to us because we know that the words of Moses are being confirmed to us. We can't doubt the words of Moses anymore. We got to start doing what we're supposed to be doing. So Daniel then is inquiring, what's next? What's next for the house of Israel? Now, in Daniel chapter 7, and I'm not going to get all into what all these things mean. We're going to talk about this in the upcoming weeks, but you do your own research. We've probably talked about this a dozen times before, so this should be familiar to a lot of us. But prior to Daniel in chapter 9 praying for the restoration of Jerusalem, the restoration of the people, the restoration of the mountain, the restoration of his holy city, Daniel has a vision, just like Nebuchadnezzar does, except Nebuchadnezzar's was of the statue, and it's all the Gentile nations that will exist. Well, Daniel has a similar vision, but it's of 4 beasts. It means of the very similar thing that Daniel's vision, that Nebuchadnezzar's vision means, but he's seeing it as beasts. Nations are often referred to as beasts. And here's and so he sees actually 4 beasts, and you can see on the picture right here, just to sort of make it simple, he sees a lion that has wings. That would be the Babylonian captivity that they're under in Nebuchadnezzar. Then he sees the Medo-Persian Empire, a bear with 3 ribs in its mouth. That would be Darius and Cyrus, the ones who actually let them go back. Then he sees the next empire that comes, which is the Grecian Empire, Alexander the Great, and then Ptolemy, and then Epiphanes. The whole story of Hanukkah. Greece takes over the world, and then ultimately there is a final or a 4th beast that Daniel sees. And if you look at most of the pictures, and I wanted to put this one up here so you guys can see it, most of the pictures that you see online sometimes have it as like a dinosaur, Tyrannosaurus Rex. I don't know, just the ugliest beast that you can think of, because Daniel doesn't tell us what kind of beast it is. Now, notice the other 3, and again, we're going to get more into this later, but the other 3 beasts is the lion, the bear, and the leopard. So here is Daniel 7 as he describes the 4th beast. So if this is Babylon, if this is Medo-Persia, if this is Greece, this becomes Rome. Whatever animal this is, this becomes Rome. So here's Daniel 7 when he describes it. So this is what's coming next. And after this, I looked in the night visions and saw a 4th beast, fearsome and burly, exceedingly strong. Remember, we just finished reading. Let's do it real quick and jump back there so you guys can see it of what he said about this animal that's coming against you, whose language you shall not understand. Where is it? Let me make this bigger so I can see it. He'll put a yoke of iron on them, a nation from you, swift as an eagle, a nation that is fierce, that is terrible. Well, those are the same words or the same meanings that we're getting now in Daniel's description here of the fourth beast. I looked in the night visions and saw a fourth beast, fearsome, terrible, and burly, exceedingly strong, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and crushed and trampled down the rest of its feet. We just finished reading. Just one more time. Got to jump back there. Got to jump back there so that we can see the connection here. He just finished telling us this beast that's coming will show no regard for the elderly, no favor to the young. They're going to eat the fruit of the livestock and the fruit of the land. That this is exactly what Daniel is describing. The same thing Moses said was going to happen. Daniel is seeing. And it says, it devoured and crushed and trampled down the rest with its feet. And it was different from all the beasts before it, and it had 10 horns. All right. So just as a quick observation, if you check out the picture that we've got here, the lion, the bear, the leopard, and then if you just look at some of the normal pictures, a Tyrannosaurus Rex or whatever that thing is, but this beast is supposed to be different than the first three. Well, the first three, um, I guess probably just by observation, what do they all have in common? Well, they're all land animals. They're all land animals. Right? A lion's a land animal, and an apex predator. A bear is a land animal, an apex predator. A leopard is a land animal, an apex predator. But this beast is different. It's different from the rest. We get a window into this in the book of Second Esdras. This is Ezra, the Ezra that comes out of Babylon and helps rebuild the walls with Nehemiah. This is Ezra. Esdras is just the way you say it in Greek. It would be Ezra. So in the book of Second Ezra, chapter 11 and verse 1, he also has a vision of all of this, except he's given a little bit more information than Daniel was. And he says, on the second night that I had a dream. So he's going to see this beast, and then he's going to see the lion that's coming, that's going to destroy it. Of course, we can figure out who that particular lion is without, a Bible degree on that one. Another message for another day. So it says, on the second night I had a dream. I saw rising from the sea, the nations, an eagle that had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. And I saw it spread its wings over the whole earth, and all the winds of the heaven blew upon it. The clouds were gathered around it. This is the next chapter, Second Esdras. The angel gives him the interpretation, is telling him what this dream means. And he says in verse 10, he said to me, this is a very, very similar thing like Daniel has. This is the interpretation of the vision which you have seen. The eagle that you saw coming up from the sea is the fourth kingdom that appeared in a vision to your brother Daniel. They don't know of a Roman Empire yet. Ezra didn't know of a Roman Empire. Daniel didn't know of a Roman Empire, but they're describing it. And it says, but it was not explained to him as I now explain to you or have explained it. They both are seeing the Roman Empire. Daniel just sees it as a terrible beast, different from the others. And now we get the interpretation here through Esdras. It wasn't just, it's a terrible beast with all the things that Daniel saw, but it's a 3-headed eagle. And there's just a computer generated picture of it. This 3-headed eagle, which of course the lion is the symbol of the Babylonians, the leopard is the symbol of the Greeks, the bear is the symbol of the Medo-Persians, and the eagle is the symbol of Rome. And this beast is going to be spread itself all over the world, east and west, and it's still here with us today throughout Europe, throughout here in America, and throughout the Middle East, because Islam is also part of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire gets split into 2. So just an artist rendering of it, but it's still Rome. So Daniel wants to know what's next for us. This fourth beast is coming. What's next for us? We're in Babylon. Everything's been destroyed. Father, forgive us. Restore the temple. Restore the people. Restore the city. Forgive us of our sin. Abba's going to do it. He's going to do it. But he sends Gabriel the angel to tell him how. What's coming. Now, this is Daniel's 70 weeks of years. We're not going to get into the whole thing tonight, just this little piece of it so you can see all the connections. He tells Daniel, and after 62 weeks of this 70 weeks of years prophecy, the Mashiach, the anointed one, shall be cut off. That means killed as a capital crime. Talking about Messiah. The Messiah is going to come. He's going to die. And the people of a coming prince shall destroy the city and the set apart place. You got to hold on here a second. Wait a minute. When Daniel is in Babylon praying this prayer, the city is destroyed. The temple is destroyed. The people have been picked up and brought into another land. Then Moses says, no, you keep doing that. What's going to happen is I'm going to bring a terrible beast to you, to your land. And he's not going to have any compassion on anybody. It will be terrible and it will be fierce. The first one is a sign. Remember this. The second one is to destroy you. And so now here Daniel's being told in Daniel 9 that whatever this thing is to come, the people to come, they're going to destroy the city and the set apart place. So if you're Daniel, and it's already given in the prophecy before this, Abba's going to answer Daniel's prayer. He's going to restore the city. He's going to restore the holy place. And that happens in the book of Nehemiah, the book of Ezra, the rebuilding of the temple, the rebuilding of the walls. All of that stuff happens. So this will be in place again. Yah will restore them. But if he's now giving him a prophecy that it's going to be destroyed again, if the first time its destruction is a confirmation of the covenant that was given through Moses, what's this? It is also the confirmation of the covenant given through the words of Moses. So we know that there is another temple that's coming. For us, it's the temple that's already been destroyed, what we would call the second temple. It says, and the end of it is with a flood, and waste are decreed, and fighting until the end. We'll get into all of what that means another time. I just wanted to show you the connection to the prophecy that comes out of Moses. Daniel connects it in chapter 9, the early parts of it, and we need to connect it into the 70 weeks of years because that's the next thing that Moses says. So let's go back to Moses. Moses tells us what's going to happen with this nation as swift as an eagle. So again, the difference between the first three beasts is they're land animals. The eagle flies. It's different. It's an aerial animal. And he says this nation would be swift as an eagle, meaning it flies. All the pieces connect. So Daniel chapter 28 and verse 52, he gives us some more information about the nation Yah's going to bring now into the land. Not pick them up and take them out, but come into the land to do something. Verse 52 says, and they, this eagle nation, shall besiege you at all your gates till your high and fenced walls in which you are trusting come down in all your land. You're gonna trust in it. You're gonna have peace in your fortifications, but it's not gonna work. And they shall besiege you at all your gates and in all your land, which Yah your Elohim has given you, and you shall eat the fruit. Listen to that. So when they come, you shall eat the fruit of your own body, the flesh of your sons and your daughters, whom Yah your Elohim has given you, in the siege and distress in which your enemies distress you. The man among you who is tender and who is very delicate, his eye is evil against his brother, against the wife of his bosom, and against the rest of his children, whom he leaves behind, against giving any of them the flesh of his children that he eats, because it is all that has been left to him in the siege and distress with which your enemy distresses you in all your gates. The tender and the delicate woman among you, who has not tried to set the sole of her foot on the ground because of the delicateness and tenderness. Her eye is evil against her seed, which comes out from between her feet, and her children whom she bears. I skipped the verse there. Her eye is evil against her husband of her bosom, against her son, against her daughter, against her seed, which comes out from between her feet, and her children whom she bears, for she eats them in secret for lack of all, in the siege and in the distress which your enemy distresses you in all your gates. This is a sign. This is a confirmation. When this happens, this is confirming the words that Moses said. First, you're going to become a proverb. You're going to be out there. You're king, and everybody's going to be going to go to this place. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. That should have been a sign to you. Don't do it again. This is what's coming, a siege against your cities. In this particular case, the city is Jerusalem. It's not just Jerusalem, it's all the other cities in Israel too, some 40 something cities that were destroyed when Rome comes in. Now, it's hard for us to wrap our minds around the terror that would have occurred. But when a invading army comes in, they lay siege, they cut off everything, water, food, and over time, this is a 7-year war, really a 3.5-year war, though the whole thing lasts, when Masada is finally destroyed, it's 7 years. So the whole thing lasts 7 years, from 66 AD to 73 AD. And Jerusalem's destroyed in 70 AD. The siege lasts over 3.5 years, or around 3.5 years, 42 months it lasts. And people, not only are they fighting and dying right and left, not only are stones the size of a Volkswagen engine being lobbed over you, and fire and tar, but you're starving to death. You are at the point of starving to death in the city. If you've got children and it gets so bad, the sign, the thing that will confirm to you this is happening because you broke the covenant, is that you're going to cannibalize your own people. You're going to eat your own children. Women who have babies, they're going to go against their sons, their daughters, their husband, and the placenta that comes out from between their legs is what it says. And the baby that comes out between their legs, they'll eat it. Imagine being so hungry, so out of your mind, so scared that you would actually cannibalize your own flesh, your own sons, your own daughters. And as horrific as this is, and this is a horrific sign, in Book 6 by Flavius Josephus, the historian of the first century, who was here and saw this, he describes in the wars of the Jews, the war of 66 to 73, the cannibalism that took place at the siege of Jerusalem. It got so bad. So many people were killed. He describes blood running down the street like a river. So much blood. So many people hacked to death, just running down the streets of Jerusalem like a river. Rape gangs and gangs looking for food, barging into people's homes, stealing what they have, killing one another, eating one another. He talks about a woman named Maria who actually ate her children, the one example. But this happened throughout Jerusalem in a 3.5-year siege. And so it describes the cannibalism at the siege of Jerusalem by stating, and here's the words of Josephus: by what should I tell about their shamelessness in eating inanimate food? People, for I am about to reveal a deed of such kind that has never been recorded by Greeks or barbarians, awful to tell and unbelievable to hear. And the description that he gives comes right out of Deuteronomy 28. Exactly what Moses said was going to happen if they continue down this path is exactly what winds up happening. And in between these two sieges, the siege of Babylon and the siege by Rome, or the captivity to Babylon, but the siege by Rome is the death and the resurrection right in the middle of it. And we'll get more into that this upcoming Shabbat. But I want you to see the connectivity here, that exactly what Moses is describing is the way history actually plays out. And if you guys can, you can go online. You can get the description that Josephus gives. It's really disgusting. It's horrible. But Messiah prophesied the same thing to happen. This is Luke chapter 21:20. He says, and when you see Jerusalem surrounded by, I put in there the PDP, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by the Roman eagle armies, then know that its laying waste is near. Then let those who are in Judah flee to the mountain, and let those who are in the midst of her get out, like get out of Sodom, like get out of Egypt, get out, and let not those who are in the fields enter her. Verse 22, because these are the days of vengeance to fill. Now, maybe should have put, I did actually underneath it, to fill all that has been written, to fill or to confirm or to fulfill or confirm the covenant as was given by Moses. That's what Messiah is saying. He's telling us what is about to come, some 40 years in the future from the death and resurrection, is the fulfillment of what Moses spoke about in the second part of Deuteronomy 28. We already know the first part, that was they're in a foreign land, and that's that. And Daniel tells us now. Daniel is being told, well, it's going to be another temple, it's going to be another Jerusalem, everything's going to be restored, and it's going to happen again. And so here's Messiah telling us it's going to happen again, but it's going to happen to confirm all that has been written by Moses before. Deuteronomy 28, 29, 30, 30. These are amazing prophecies and must be understood if we're going to have any real chance of trying to understand what this story is really about. And end times, this has everything to do with the end times. This has everything to do with trying to figure out prophecy. We'll get there eventually. And look at what the master says concerning this. And woe to those who are pregnant and those who are nursing in those days. Why? Because Moses told us what even the most delicate woman will be pushed to, what even the most earnest, tender-hearted father will be pushed to when they are absolutely starving to death, when they are emaciated, and all they have is their son or daughter that has died. They'll eat their flesh, or they'll eat the placenta. And then groups hear or smell something cooking. You haven't had anything to eat for weeks. They'll barge into your house, kill you to grab that meat and eat it as well. Horrific, I know. Horrible, I know. But that's confirmation. It's confirmation that he said, if you do and obey, there's blessings, there's life. But if you disobey, there's cursing and there's death. And evidently, they just didn't get it. They didn't get it. Now, the reason for the destruction of Jerusalem the second time is not the same reason as Jerusalem was destroyed the first time. The first time's for worshiping other gods and breaking all the commandments and all the rest of that. And yeah, they broke the commandments and stuff for the second time. But it's much, 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 much bigger than that. But we don't have time to get into that for tonight. Just want to let you know there is a different reason for the destruction of Jerusalem the second time. And you can see on the pictures there, of course, what are they doing? They're laying siege. They're making ramparts. They're surrounding the city. They're going to starve the people out. They're going to attack, 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 attack. And all the horrific things are going to go on in that 3.5-year period that we were warned about by Moses. Okay, so here's Moses and Messiah, our last verse for today. Deuteronomy 28, verse 58, Moses then goes on to say, when all of this occurs and this horrific siege comes and they come and all this horrible stuff is going on, he says, if you do not guard to do all the words of this Torah that are written in this book, to fear this gloried and awesome name, that's Yah's name, Yahuwah, your Elohim, then Yahuwah shall bring upon you and your descendants extraordinary plagues, great and lasting plagues, and grievous lasting sickness. He's talking about on the Jewish people. This is who in 70 AD would be the Jewish people, it'd be the people of Israel. Skipping down to verse 64, you can read the verses in between. He says, this is what's going to happen. They're going to come, they're going to do all of this stuff, lay siege, all the rest of that. And Yahuwah shall scatter you among all the peoples, from one end of the earth to the other. And there you shall serve other mighty ones, which you neither know, nor you nor your fathers have known, wood and stone. And verse 65, and among those nations you are to find no rest, nor have a resting place for the sole of your foot. But there Yah shall give you a trembling heart and failing eyes and sorrow of being. Messiah said the same thing. The next verse in Luke chapter 21, after he talks about a woman this shouldn't happen when a woman is pregnant, women who are nursing, it's going to be a terrible thing, the siege. Verse 23 of Luke 21, for there shall be great distress in the earth and wrath upon this people, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword and be led away captive into all. He's quoting Moses. He's confirming Moses. He's confirming the covenant made by Moses. And Jerusalem shall be trampled underfoot by the nations until the times of the nations are filled. So for tonight, I want everybody to at least remember this. The pivotal point in all of the biblical history we've got is the Babylonian captivity and then the eventual destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. We've got the death and the resurrection of the Messiah. And then we've got the destruction of the temple in the first century, 70 AD or so, in a 7-year war. This becomes paramount in understanding Daniel's 70 weeks, in understanding Matthew 24, in understanding Revelation. All of it becomes pivotal. Everything's in patterns. And we still today, even though we are in Messiah, yes, it's a new covenant. Yes, it's a renewed covenant. Yes, the glory of the old is fading away. The temple is gone. That's gone. The priests are gone. That's gone. But the truth of Yah doesn't change. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Yes, we come to him by faith, but Messiah says, if you love me, obey my commandments, just like that was said to Israel. And what's going to happen? Life eternal. If we don't, if we reject him, if we hate him, death is coming. Death is coming. It's still a matter of choosing life or choosing death. It's just now the stakes are much, much higher than we could have ever imagined before. But that's where we're going to stop here for tonight. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I know it's a lot of historical stuff and putting pieces of prophecies together. We're going to go, we're going to explain the 70 weeks. We're going to get into those prophecies, but you got to know this stuff beforehand so that it makes sense. And this upcoming weekend, we're going to talk about the statue of Nebuchadnezzar and sort of put that into perspective as well. And I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind when you understand what it's really about, as opposed to what sort of we've been told for a long time, or, a lot of us have thought. The closer we get to this, the more open our eyes get, and hopefully it'll be interesting to all of us and help us understand where we are. These are signs. So here's the deal. If he did it to Babylon, if he did it at Rome, what's coming in the days future? If each one gets bigger and bigger, this whole story is going to get played out again, but it's going to get played out on a global scale. And that's why we've got to know the patterns to understand where we are today and what's coming. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I sincerely, sincerely appreciate it. I hope that you guys enjoyed that message, that it was uplifting, but also informative to you, and just is going to start to put the pieces together so that we can understand some major, major prophecies in the upcoming weeks. Guys, hey, tomorrow's Sister Karen's birthday, so give her a shout out. I know she'd appreciate it on the LMC app. Happy birthday to you, Karen. Strongest, best woman I've ever known in my life. So happy birthday. Hopefully it's a good year for you. In the meantime, guys, have an awesome evening out there. We'll see you tomorrow morning for our morning manna, and of course on Friday night for our hidden manna. Guys, have a great rest of the evening. Shalom, guys. Peace.